afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Singh, and I'm here to present to you my senior thesis collection. As a designer at Parsons, I've come to discover that I'm really inspired by dark, deep, mysterious ideas and abstract ideas, and I like to take that into my concept. So for my senior thesis, what I did was I actually took the idea of, I was actually inspired by my grandfather's funeral, and the idea of officially letting him go, the idea of letting things dissipate. So with that, I took the shape of the coffin, which you'll see throughout the collection, which is a constant motif that's actually played in almost every piece, and then I took the pleating and quilting, which was the interior aspect of it, and I've kind of reinterpreted of my aspect of what I feel pleating is. So with that said, my first look is actually a button-up, which you can see the shape of it right at the placket itself. And yet again, this idea of dissipation came to play, this idea from dark to light. And then it's paired up with a gabardine pan, which has a teal detail on it and a hidden pocket. Teal was his favorite color. Here's the pan. You can see the cuff detailing right there. It's a coated linen, and then it's a shirting which has an organza overlay, and then the shirting material itself. This is actually also paired up with a leather and gabardine vest, which has a trapunto quilting on the pockets of it, which I did myself. And then it has a very graphic back to it. And then my next look, which is one of my ultimate favorite pieces, is actually on Teresa. It is a lightweight leather skirt that actually has the pleats sliced into it. I wanted to make the pleating slightly different, so when I started playing with it, I actually started slicing it up, and I got a laser cut, which actually added a unique shape to it. I knew I didn't want a straight pleat in the collection. That I knew. So it's paired up with a leather jacket. It's this idea of having the burden on the shoulders, weighing you down, and actually slightly reveals herself. Yet again, it becomes this idea of dissipation, this idea of letting go, exposing of the body. It is a silk organza and a coated linen blouse. And the skirt itself moves almost like butter. The slices actually add air within the skirt that actually keep it from being very heavy.
When you open them, what's in there?
When you open up the skirt, when you actually open the skirt, it's actually sliced. So it exposes underneath the body, but it is fully lined, so you don't see the body yet when you're physically wearing it. It is one of my ultimate favorite pieces. That, to me, was the starting out point of the collection. That's when I felt, I was like, okay, this is it. I knew pleat would be in the collection, played throughout. So for my next look is also a blouse. It's a triple panel, it's 3 strips of organza that actually drape over the shoulder. Becomes this idea, yet again, of letting go. So it collapses on the shoulder. It's half and half very hard, but yet again the other half very soft. And this is paired up with a tuxedo pant, which has a leather stripe detail on the side, done again in a gabardine. On top of this is a silk and wool coat, which has the double panel in the front. Notice the blouse had first 1 panel, this has a 2nd panel. 3 is a huge number, so as the collection progresses, you'll see the number 3 play throughout the collection, and the panels keep layering upon themselves. So as you open it up, it is a double zip. It is a fully lined coat, and there is an interior pocket felt detail, which actually mimics the top of the coat itself. This can actually be worn with a lot of the pieces. It is a layerable piece. And also one of my next favorite pieces, I really wanted to somehow incorporate more white into the collection. Kind of like this memory of reflecting on the happier moments and looking past more of the somber moments. So I actually have a leather top, leather dress, what I call the mini dress. The pleats are crooked, and it's done backwards versus the other ones are facing the other direction. So it's this idea of reflecting on multiple memories at once, going backwards, spiraling down backwards. back has a white cutout, has a white contrast, which is an organza. And the front is actually a coated linen, yet again with the stripe detail and the gabardine pleats. So for my next look, the collection started getting slightly lighter as it progressed, and then you have this huge heavy leather piece in the right before this lighter piece comes into play. So for my next look, I actually have a teal blouse. There's a custom color with an engineered pleated organza skirt. So the organza on the blouse was actually hand drawn by me, each one by one. I was very meticulous to make sure each strand was actually 14 pieces as it pulled to get the full 1/8 of an inch. And it's paired up with an organza skirt that actually has the pleats engineered. And it has a double placket detail to it. So when you open it up, you actually see one placket and then another placket. So again, very hard in shape, but still contrasting with the softer, delicate fabrics. For my final look is actually on Allie. It is a triple panel gown. It's my version of an angel coming and taking my grandfather away. It is a triple panel organza gown. Top 2 panels are organza. The bottom panel is actually a georgette, which segued into the georgette pleats. This is the only piece in the collection that has the traditional pleating. The reason for that being is because this is where I feel my collection started, was the traditional pleats. My grandfather is where I personally feel I started, because that's as far as I went back. So by letting him go, I'm letting the idea of traditional pleating go, and moving forward with what I feel is a newer way of pleating by actually playing with different ways to start pleating. So I feel that you can clearly see how this collection embodies who I am as a designer and who I've grown. I'd like to thank the panel for being here today, my professors who have guided me throughout this piece of the collection. Also, last but not least, is my clutch, which I've designed. It is done in multiple different types of fabric leathers. Open it up, you can see the detail. I had the zipper pulls custom engraved. Once again, thank you so much for the panel to being here, professors who have guided me through this entire process, my friends and family who have supported me, and my grandfather for inspiring me to be who I am today. Thank you.
So amazed by the skirt and the dress.
Thank you.
The skirt is like, it's so easy, but it's sort of like so complex and so easy at the same time. And the fact that it's just one layer, like you didn't have to try and, sew and construct and backstitch. Just, it's awesome.
Yeah, when I did the treatment for that skirt, I was like, oh, this is it. Like, I fell in love with it right then and there. I was like,
Was this really the first piece that you designed?
This was the first piece that I had designed once I realized what my concept really became throughout the entire process of it. In the beginning of it, it wasn't fully there, but the minute I took that shape, the minute I took the shape of the casket and I started layering it, I saw the shapes of it. So I started slicing that up, and then that's where the leather skirt came to play.
It seems like everything is very intentional. Even that side seam that I just noticed on that dress is just tilted so slightly. I think it's a beautiful touch. I was wondering, I was noticing all the little details. Is there a reason you had an invisible zipper in the center front of your pant?
No, there wasn't.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah. Well, I don't. It just kind of came to be. But when you insert the belt in, the belt does dissipate within the pant itself, and you do see the frontal part. The only way to get that, I believe, was to put the zipper in the front. Because if you was to put it in the back, it would get a little. It could be possible, but it might get bulky or even complicated to do. But that's the reason why I feel. Thank you.
always seems to be that moment, it's sort of everything clicks. And I think with this skirt and this collection, that moment occurred.
Yeah.
I think it really is phenomenal, and that skirt's one of the best I've seen, in seasons. I've sat through hundreds of shows last year. That's one of the best skirts I've seen, period, on the runway.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay?
Thank you.
Did you, by the time you were all done, what, if you were gonna look back now and kind of realize like something, I learned something from this and I would maybe just shift this into a different direction or take this out, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If I was to
What
take
did
a
you learn
piece and
from it?
what did I learn from it? Wow. There's a lot I learned from it.
If you were gonna just, if you could take this now and do the next stage of it, what is it?
What would it be? I'd probably play more on the clothing aspect of it and to try to really develop that. There is some which is done on this and on the interior of the jacket. So it's done in two places. I'd like to push that further, maybe even push the pleating aspect further, see where that can go, even see where that can take me. Because I think I've pretty much pushed pleat for the year.